Rome did not fall because barbarians invaded. It had been dying from the inside for 300 years, and the real causes tell us something uncomfortable about how great civilizations actually end. As you consider the decline of Rome, you might wonder, what role did the construction of over 1,000 aqueducts, such as the Aqua Claudia, built in 52 AD, play in the city's demise, given that many of these aqueducts were lined with lead, which would later be discovered to have severe health consequences, including cognitive impairment and neurological damage, as noted by the Roman architect Vitruvius in his treatise De Architectura, written around 25 BC. In the years leading up to the fall, Rome was experiencing a period of relative peace and prosperity, with the Pax Romana, which lasted from 27 BC to 180 AD, allowing for the growth of international trade, including the importation of over 20 million modii of grain from Egypt each year, as recorded by the Roman historian Tacitus in his book Annals, written around 116 AD. The Roman Empire was also expanding its borders, with the conquest of Dacia in 106 AD, which added significant wealth and resources to the empire, including an estimated 165,000 kilograms of gold and 300,000 kilograms of silver, as noted by the Roman historian Cassius Dio in his book Roman History, written around 230 AD. As you look at the vast expanse of the Roman Empire, you might ask, how could a civilization that had built such an impressive and complex system of governance, with a bureaucracy that included over 100 different types of officials, as outlined in the Notitia Dignitatum, a document compiled in the 5th century AD, ultimately collapse under its own weight, given the numerous warnings and critiques of Roman excess and corruption, such as those expressed by the Roman statesman and philosopher Cicero in his orations against Catiline, delivered in 63 BC. The main events that led to the fall of Rome were complex and multifaceted, involving a combination of factors, including economic collapse, environmental degradation, and military instability, which culminated in the crisis of the 3rd century, a period of 50 years, from 235 to 284 AD, during which 26 different emperors ruled Rome, including the infamous Elagabalus, who was assassinated in 222 AD, and the successful but short-lived Aurelian, who died in 275 AD. The Roman economy was heavily reliant on slave labor, with an estimated 20% of the population being slaves, as noted by the Roman historian Strabo in his book Geographica, written around 20 AD, which led to a lack of investment in technology and a decline in economic productivity, as argued by the Roman economist Columella in his book De Re Rustica, written around 60 AD. The widespread use of lead in the water supply, including in the pipes and soldering, as described by the Roman engineer Frontinus in his book De Aqueductu, written around 100 AD, also had a significant impact on the health and cognitive function of the Roman population, with studies suggesting that lead exposure can reduce IQ by up to 10 points, as noted by the modern-day researcher and lead expert, Dr. Herbert Needleman, in his 1990 study published in the New England Journal of Medicine. As you consider the combination of these factors, you might wonder, how did the Roman military, which had once been the epitome of discipline and loyalty, become so fragmented and disloyal, with the introduction of the comitatus system, which created a more decentralized and mercenary-based army, as described by the Roman historian Ammianus Marcellinus in his book Residential Gesti, written around 390 AD. The Antonine Plague, which occurred from 165 to 180 AD, and is believed to have killed up to 5 million people, or approximately 10% of the Roman population, as estimated by the Roman historian Cassius Dio, also had a significant impact on the Roman economy and society, leading to increased inequality and social unrest, as noted by the Roman historian Edward Gibbon in his book The History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, written in the late 18th century. The aftermath of the fall of Rome was marked by a period of significant change and upheaval, with the division of the empire into eastern and western halves, and the eventual rise of new powers, such as the Ostrogoths and the Vandals, who would go on to establish their own kingdoms and empires, as described by the Roman historian Procopius in his book Wars, written around 550 AD. The fall of Rome also led to a decline in trade and commerce, with the reduction of international trade by up to 90%, as estimated by the historian and economist, Dr. Peter Temin, in his 2013 study published in the Journal of Economic History, and a significant decrease in the standard of living, with the average life expectancy decreasing by up to 10 years. As noted by the historian and demographer, Dr. Joel Mocher, in his 2009 study published in the Journal of Economic History. As you look at the remnants of the Roman Empire, you might ask, what can we learn from the experiences of the Romans, and how can we apply those lessons to our own civilization, given the numerous parallels between the Roman Empire and modern-day societies, including the reliance on fossil fuels, the growth of income inequality, and the degradation of the environment? As noted by the historian and journalist, Dr. Naomi Klein, in her 2014 book This Changes Everything. As you reflect on the story of Rome's decline and fall, you might consider the fact that the Roman Empire was once thought to be invincible, with the Roman poet Virgil writing in his book Aeneid, written around 19 BC, that the Roman Empire would last forever, and yet, it ultimately collapsed under the weight of its own internal weaknesses, leading to a period of significant upheaval and change. As described by the Roman historian Tacitus in his book Histories, written around 100 AD, and you might wonder, what does this say about the long-term prospects for our own civilization, given the numerous challenges and vulnerabilities that we face, and the importance of learning from the lessons of history, as noted by the historian and philosopher, Dr. Neil Ferguson, in his 2013 book The Great Degeneration.